Do you think superhero fatigue really exists, that Marvel is just facing an unchangeable reality where superheroes no longer attract anyone? Or is it just the result of their decisions about the multiverse saga? That's what we discussed last week in a video where we explored what went wrong. We mainly aimed to rebalance things, a saga that really lacked coherence, connection, and especially an Avengers movie to unite the stories. This week, we're expanding this concept to phases 5 and 6. Phase 5 the most disappointing yet, and phase 6 which promises to make up for it all. But what if, in reality, there was nothing to make up for? What if everything had already been planned, teased, and prepared from the beginning to lead to the rise of Doomsday and Secret Wars? Here's what I have for you this week. To fully enjoy this video, make sure you've watched part 1. So if you haven't done it yet, you can click right here or find the link in the description. Now, obviously, even though we're going to enhance them, we're going to talk about 100 of the projects released in recent years. So, we're entering the spoiler zone, the danger zone. You're here with Kevin Buchart, your favorite theorist, who thinks he's my favorite Kevin Feige. Roll the intro. Earlier in Phase 4, I know some of you didn't watch the last video. Here's a quick recap for those who didn't. Everyone else can skip to Phase 5. We concluded that the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe built the beginning of the saga is problematic. The new heroes aren't integrated enough. The post-Endgame transition felt rushed, and the multiverse is complex but underused. Most importantly, no major event has rebuilt unity around the Avengers team. These movies have always made their characters grow a lot through less self-centered stories, where everyone is inspired by their teammates. That's always been Tony Stark and Steve Rogers' strength. We had to address that. Phase 4 is built on key pillars: the post-snap, mistrust, resulting chaos and paranoia, and the start of the multiverse crisis. WandaVision begins Wanda's path to the Darkhold. Loki starts the multiverse arc, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier builds the saga's political storyline. And the beginning of the Young Avengers, Shang-Chi plunges us into a post-snap world where mistrust reigns and criminal organizations have taken advantage to settle in. We are in the post-snap era. Scott joins him on the West Coast. The Eternals increase Earth's instability, fueling anti-alien paranoia in conspiracy groups. With Moon Knight and the Eternals post-credit scene being teased, the Midnight Suns lead directly to the Blade movie. Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel, on the other hand, help introduce new Young Avengers with Kamala and Kate Bishop. At the end of Ms. Marvel, the quantum bracelets cause a white vision from the future to appear, triggering the Avengers Protocol, a protocol for detecting young talents with the potential to become future Avengers. Kamala is included, so Captain America, Brave New World replaces Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Due to widespread mistrust, Thaddeus Ross is elected and creates a new Avengers team. Later, we discover some heroes were Skrulls and Thaddeus had been manipulated and poisoned for years. Under alien control, Brave New World leads to an Avengers secret invasion film where paranoia dominates and Sam tries to form new Avengers. They defeat the Skrull Queen, but face consequences. Wilson Fisk becomes mayor of anti-hero New York, and 2 underground Avengers teams form on the West Coast. And it's with the goal of preparing the new generation to face the ominous warnings from visions of the future. Meanwhile, Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau are in charge of the Sabre space station to find the heroes kidnapped by the Skrulls. Well, that's a very rough summary. Honestly, it's best if you go watch the full video. It's worth it. Let's move on. Phase 5, the rise of the multiverse, will bring real renewal. Real story arcs are becoming important, all connected by a common idea. The multiverse is the coming war. Loki Season 2 would then give us much more answers than we have now. The Time Variance Authority is no longer under He Who Remains control, and many universes are multiplying. His warnings are coming true, and Loki is trying to stop it, before realizing that nothing will stop the multiversal war and eventually becoming the god of stories. The post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp becomes Loki's scene. The Council of Kang is free, and the Time Variance Authority's mission is to buy as much time as possible to find a way for the multiverse to defend itself. Why will we uncover it? Soon? Then Black Panther Wakanda Forever begins. The movie would follow more or less the same storyline, except that the dilemma between Talokan and Wakanda would not be the same. Black Panther is dead, leaving Africa's most developed country without its king or Black Panther. Political instability has left the world in ruins after Secret Invasion, destroying T'Challa's dream. Shuri's mourning is interrupted by a new event. As in the comics, Wakanda is the site of the first incursion in this crisis. A man appears in a Black Panther suit with loyal followers, but the suit is unlike anything Shuri knows. T'Challa Jr. claims to be king of the galactic empire of Wakanda. After his world was destroyed, he has traveled through incursions seeking a land to help solve the crisis. He has technology to detect the next incursion, which is how he finds Talokan, the site of the coming crisis. The United States, after losing the Battle of Lady Anthium, learns about this technology via the CIA. They think it's a vibranium detector that could close their tech gap. They race against Wakanda, threatening Talokan and sparking war between the civilizations. Wakanda must dispose of this technology once the misunderstanding is resolved and the United States is no longer involved. Shuri becomes Wakanda's ruler and Black Panther. Namor agrees to aid Wakanda with future threats, and Sam Wilson is updated. Together they commit in secret to fight against this new threat. Forming the Illuminati, the Black Panther from another world is made regent of the Kingdom of the Dead, home to Wakandan king's ancestors. A post-credits scene asks, what is this, T'Challa? Jr. is working with a mysterious man, the Doom from another world, to whom he says, I've infiltrated Earth, my lord, we can launch the plan. Next is Thor, Love and Thunder, and I assure you Thor will be respected, will truly draw inspiration from the God Butcher storyline. The movie shows Thor missing the secret invasion on Earth as he seeks purpose with the Guardians of the Galaxy, a path that leads him to face Gorr, the God Butcher, a more cynical Gorr who respects no gods, predicts the end of everything, and blames them for the multiverse's death. Gorr's mission is to find eternity with the goal of killing all gods, past, present, and future, through a wish. An adventure that leads Thor to investigate the many massacred pantheons and to team up along the way. Alongside past and future versions of himself, there's also Jane Foster as Mighty Thor, like in the comics. Gorr finds a way to escape into a distant future, a ruined future, where two broken, fragmented Earths are mixed together as if they had collided in a shattered universe. He served the surviving gods from all cultures after the catastrophe, aiming to reach eternity. Thor finally manages to follow him into this future, but arrives hundreds of years later, and he comes across an older version of himself. He learns from him that the Earth was destroyed by an incursion and that no mortals survived. The two Thors join their temporal variant to defeat the God Butcher before he reaches eternity. Eternity grants Thor a wish to return all gods to their origins. Thor, now in New Asgard, can't recall how he arrived but senses something is wrong, as if the future is gone and the universe is doomed to vanish. He will begin convincing the other gods to investigate. Both stories gradually introduce elements to help understand and anticipate the threat. On Earth, heroes are no longer welcome. In most American territories, New York has implemented the Superhero Registration Act, which has spread across the entire East Coast. A divide forms between East and West in New York. Daredevil dons his suit again to fight Fisk, who secretly manipulates the public to grow his criminal empire and eliminate obstacles. He is considering becoming the future president of the United States. In Los Angeles, the situation is completely different. We learn that, following the events of Endgame, many meta-human heroes have appeared. The three snaps over 5 years released massive gamma energy on Earth, activating what's known as a mutant gene. More people now have new powers, and after the Skrull invasion, the public is showing significant discrimination against them. Los Angeles then becomes the home of mutants, and that's where we meet Jennifer Walters, the cousin of Bruce Banner, who goes through the same accident as in her series. This time, we'll stick to the comics. Jennifer's powers become such a blessing that she prefers staying in her She-Hulk form. She grows famous, loved, and much more confident. Despite Red Hulk's carnage in Washington, Los Angeles remains the city for all metas. However, her overconfidence gradually makes her lose touch with reality. She gets fired from her firm, then is hired by another that defends meta-humans against anti-superhero and discriminatory laws. However, she's instructed not to stay as She-Hulk but as Jennifer, a truly feminist series where she learns to accept herself as she is, and it's by fully being Jennifer that she becomes more powerful as She-Hulk. As in the original series, a subplot features the intelligentsia, scientists and financiers attempting to replicate the formula. Founded by Samuel Stern, the organization can create Hulks and freed Thaddeus Ross from prison. Red Hulk Revanchard is the main threat in this series. In the final battle, She-Hulk loses to Red Hulk, awakening the Savage Hulk. Their massive clash in Los Angeles streets leaves neither victorious. Both vanish into the wild, leaving downtown in ruins. To be clear, there's no Daredevil or Oscar in this series. I'm serious. She-Hulk joins the West Coast Avengers with Hawkeye, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man Phase 5, and the Midnight Suns. Now let's talk about Werewolf by Night. I wouldn't change anything except add a post-credits scene with Man-Thing and Jack. Elsa Bloodstone would find them and suggest a vampire hunt, connecting the series to Blade. Same for Agatha. I would change almost nothing for her. Well, actually, maybe, since I removed Ironheart from Black Panther 2, I would also remove her series and create a connection between Agatha and Mephisto. I show that she made a pact with the devil, even though I love her connection with death. But anyway, still in the somewhat supernatural projects, we would get a season 2 of Moon Knight. From now on, the series will plunge us deep into madness. Jake Lockley is now in control of Moon Knight. He's violent, dark, and no longer gives his alter egos the chance to resurface. Meanwhile, Stephen Grant is lost in the depths of his own mind, trapped by his own demons, facing his fractured, tortured soul. He also faces Khonshu's temptation and corruption as Khonshu urges Moon Knight to become a true vigilante and hand of vengeance. For the Travelers of the Night, each murder committed by Jake darkens his soul a little more until he can no longer escape. But meanwhile, an enemy with brute strength faces Moon Knight, the so-called Bushman, Mark Spector's former brother-in-arms. Jake, seeking revenge, realizes he can't eliminate him without fully using his other abilities. We learn Mark had been battling Jake's demons to help him see reason. He returns with Steven and together they defeat Bushman. Anyway, I got carried away. I love this character. The editor is going to hate me. The post-credits scene would show Blade and Black Knight facing him saying, "Gentlemen, we're really going to need all your skills." This setup would finally lead us to that famous Blade movie. But then which version? At least 4 screenwriters and directors have joined and left the project in succession. Let me give you a Buckart-style explanation if you've been following. So we have a team made up of Blade, Black Knight, Moon Knight, joined by a master of the mystical arts, like Brother Voodoo, as well as Elsa Bloodstone, Jack Russell, and Manslayer. Their mission is to destroy the Darkhold, which brings Wanda back into the story. A Wanda, driven mad by her multiverse journey, visions of destruction, and glimpses of her variants' perfect lives. Nothing can stop Rabumalal or the end of everything, so she decides to live the life she always dreamed of with her children. Madness lets Chthon steal Scarlet Witch's powers as he's a corruptor. He made the Darkhold to possess powerful users. I'm not going to cover the whole movie, but the team enters a dystopian world created by the Scarlet Witch, full of monstrous creatures to stop them. A movie ending with the Scarlet Witch vanishing and the Darkhold destroyed everywhere. And yes, I think that makes more sense than Wanda's current ending, where she loses control for no clear reason. Between 2 Phase 5 movies, Dynasty, the Thunderbolt movie would then take place now, a movie that introduces us to a new team of villains but whose connection wouldn't be made through Vapor. Valentina, no, but through Wilson. Fisk. Fisk uses each of his mercenaries to cover his tracks in a world without vigilantes. He wants his own perfect weapon, a metahuman hunter, a sentinel, a sentry, but as in the original movie, nothing goes as planned. He names the Thunderbolts the new Avengers and Protectors of America. Serving the law, Fisk pursues his political goal to control the United States. Finally, the Marvels arrives. I know you don't want to, and I don't either, but our situations differ. After Secret Invasion, Monica and Carol track down the remaining Skrulls and search for people who were replaced. Then a game-changing event occurs. Kamala's bracelet connects the Marvel's powers. One of the rogue generals is actually leading a war to wipe out the Skrulls. She obtains the other bracelet, and the powers she releases through it disrupt space's balance. The Marvels are caught in a Kree-Skrull war to save the universe. We learn the Skrulls invaded Earth to save their race, so she allies with them. Darben was stopped from harming the last hostages, including James Rod, but her hunger for power pushes her to reclaim both bracelets. To open a portal to other universes for Kree expansion, which will consume her. An incursion happens, Monica closes it from the other side, landing in the X-Men universe. We're close to the original pitch, and I did my best. You've probably noticed Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania is still missing. No, I didn't remove it, just moved it. It's now the second to last film in the phase, right before Avengers, Kang Dynasty. What else can I say about this movie? It's so unique, it's hard to change. Come on, instead of having this totally random thing where his daughter created a quantum realm telescope, man. It would actually be Hong Pim, Chang-Chi and Cassie studying the signal produced by the Ten Rings. You know what we see at the end of Chang-Chi? But when Janet realizes what it really is, she panics and everything goes haywire. The signal reverses and pulls them into the quantum world. From there, we'll get a movie like the original, but less silly. The quantum world will then be the crossroads of what Kang's technology has created, turning many exiles into terrifying weapons, with MODOK as the leader and not that disgusting mess. In short, the Conqueror wants revenge, but hasn't faced the multiversal war and easily defeats any opposition. No, the movie doesn't end with a bar fight, but the ants are still vital. They destroy Kang's military complex and troops using PIM technology and the Desano. Kang manages to escape into the time stream, and then each hero also tries to escape using Kang's time portals, but they all go in opposite directions. Kang and Hope arrive in Universe 838, where Reed survived Wanda, but has gone insane due to the events of Multiverse of Madness. Becoming the creator, the post-credits scenes show Hank and Janet's friend in ancient Egypt. And finally, Shang-Chi and Cassie would be back in Pym's lab, in their world on the ground. Cassie's phone then shows 50 missed calls, all from Kamala. So the movie would show us the power of a single Kang variant whom none of the heroes managed to defeat. And there, okay, we accept it, it's not complicated. Damn, come on, let's keep going because this Phase 5 is endless. We finally start Avengers Kang Dynasty, the movie wraps up the phase, and it begins with an Avengers meeting. The famous white vision has been activated. Kang the Conqueror is back in the multiverse, except it's not really a vision but Iron Lad. A young Kang in stasis, wearing vision-inspired armor, fled the future as Nathaniel Richards to prepare for the Kang's arrival and the multiverse's end. We're not covering the whole movie to keep it easier for my editor. Basically, it shows each hero team setting aside differences to defeat a swarm of Kangs. While chasing them, each would be sent to different timelines and universes, completely scrambling the teams. Most importantly, it would highlight Kang's invincibility, since even after being defeated, he quickly escapes and returns in perfect condition, even more prepared. He is a traveler of time, and the multiverse, nothing can stop him. But most importantly, the movie would show us that the multiverse is in a cataclysmic state. These once allied Kangs are now fighting a devastating war, collapsing the multiverse like dominoes. They need to be stopped. The movie would turn into a multiversal war, culminating with Kang the Conqueror and Alioth joining forces. A story that would end on Earth, with the Avengers defeated by Kang the Conqueror Kang, born from the eternal flow of time, the one who will become he who remains. He shows us this war is just one part of a cycle he created. But that was without counting on an unexpected arrival, that of a shadow that terrifies this Kang who whispers, "It's impossible," a shadow that turns out to be Victor Von Doom C, who, with a simple gesture, rips out Kang's spine. He stands, takes off his mask, revealing Tony Stark's face to the stunned Avengers and says, "I know how to save the multiverse." Phase 5 would finally end on this huge cliffhanger, leaving us waiting for Avengers Doomsday, scheduled 2 years later, Phase 6, the end of the multiverse. In Phase 4, we addressed the snap's aftermath, formed new Avengers, explored the world during a secret invasion, and introduced the idea of a secret. In Phase 5, we teased the multiverse's end, introduced the paranormal arc, and most importantly, launched Doctor Doom's multiversal war. Phase 6 has to be absolutely unprecedented. Earth 616 ends on an unbearable cliffhanger. It's time to dive into the multiverse. The very first movie of this Phase 6 would be Spider-Man 4. Well, not exactly the one you're thinking of. A Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, a film that follows the continuation of his adventures after No Way Home. A classic Sam Raimi 2 in form, but a film that ends with a massive incursion and the destruction of his universe in a deluge of fire. A supernova caused by an Omega mutant threatens, and Tobey, his Earth's only hero, is powerless. Suddenly, an orange portal opens behind him, saving or taking him away with no further explanation. From Deadpool and Wolverine, the film lets us understand what happened to Tobey. It seems he was picked up by the Time Variance Authority. In this film, I barely changed the script because we still lack full details about the agglomerators. Essentially, it's a second universe introducing the Time Variance Authority's cinema, followed by the Fantastic Four. I don't change much here either. The point of these 3 films is to introduce us to different universes through the multiverse, worlds that are experiencing the consequences of the Kang War, but above all, to set up the final threat of the multiverse. The players in this chapter, the Multiverse Saga, also include other universes. We can also add Daredevil Season 2 Vision Quest and The Punisher, which might occur the same year as Kang Dynasty. Because the last Avengers movie spans time and the multiverse, it stays consistent, so Spider-Man's Brand New Day events could happen alongside Kang Dynasty. This explains why the Avengers don't intervene in a New York torn apart by gang war. The movie would conclude the street-level arc with Peter's death. A brief death as the symbiote would revive him and give him the black suit for Avengers Secret Wars, explaining his absence in Doomsday, so Avengers Doomsday would continue right after Kang Dynasty. Doom showed up in the Fantastic Four's post-credits, but in another timeline. Now he's facing the Avengers and plans to bring in the X-Men against the World Destroyers. We learn only a few worlds survived the gang war. 4, to be exact, the Fantastic Four's world, now Ultimate 838, the X-Men's world and Universe 616. And only Doom knows how to stop the World Destroyer, Earth X, from destroying the Eternal Time Stream. No one saw him in Kang Dynasty, but he didn't come alone. With him are the Fantastic Four, a future Black Panther, and a silent Doctor Strange. The rest is history, as this video isn't about theorizing Doomsday's appearance, but about how Disney should have set up the Multiverse saga for its finale. I must see this through to the end, no matter what Doomsday brings. I believe Toby will be in the movie, a Time Variance Authority team will play a key role, and the film will end with the multiverse's destruction. That's why, if it were up to me, I'd add a Doomsday movie and Secret Wars to my story. Strange has pursued Rabumalal, just like in the comics. His movie would follow him as he investigates beyond the multiverse's physical realities to find the true person behind his downfall. He would discover that the universe's destruction is unstoppable and that Rabumalal is really Victor Von Doom. At that moment, a stranger appears to Strange, but like the Fantastic Four, he seems familiar. Doom could, with a swipe of his thumb, restore his memories of the original universe before He Who Remains erased the X-Men and Fantastic Four. And of course, Doom. That's why Kang didn't expect him. He is the greatest threat to him. And He Who Remains had normally removed him from the story. But that was all Loki's plan. Freeing the multiverse so a Doom could rise and defeat the Dynasty. It also lets the Time Variance Authority form an Avengers team from the strongest variants in the multiverse to defeat Doom. That's impressive. This movie reveals that Doom and Strange secretly orchestrated the Kang War and prevented the multiverse's destruction. This time, in any case, the movie would be a bridge between the two Avengers films, and it's here that we would discover the true end of the multiverse and the creation of Battleworld, a new world ruled by the God Emperor Doom. A world where Strange has taken on the role of sheriff. The movie would end with the discovery of a ship buried in Battleworld from which survivors of the end of the multiverse emerge. And obviously Secret Wars would then be an adaptation between the 2015 Secret Wars by Ickman and The Run, Avengers Forever, where Loki assembles a multiversal team of Avengers to defeat Doom. In short, an absolutely epic ending. It's true that in this video we talked very little about animation, for a simple reason. I think it was poorly used in the Multiverse saga. What if it didn't even understand its own concept? Yes, I would have loved to see real what-ifs. Marvel Cinematic Universe movies showing alternate universes where a single different choice leads to drastic consequences. Instead, Marvel decided to tell us a parallel story with the Watcher and a bunch of characters, right? Here you go, plus his multiversal Avengers, Darcy's daughter, and Howard the Duck. Personally, I think animation should be used in a different way. For example, by creating, between my Doctor Strange movie and Secret Wars, monthly specials that tell the story of a region of Battleworld. Just to advance the lore of this new universe through animation, with completely crazy action scenes, a world where the Civil War never ended. Another one featuring Hulk or even Marvel zombies? Well, they already did that, and I admit I loved it. It's a way for fans to get into Secret Wars with an overall understanding of what Battleworld is. Anyway, I think we've covered everything in this double video from Marteau. Hope you enjoyed it, friends. If you missed part 1, I'll link it here. See you next week, same day and time, for a more relaxed video. Meanwhile, stay curious. That's the secret to being happy. Bye.